Hey, this is SJ Talks to Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Now, back in the summertime, I think it was back in the summer, I did a video entitled, Are Women Picking the Wrong Men? Now, this time I'm going to flip-flop that around and ask, are men picking the wrong women? Because I think it's only fair to flip it. On this channel, I talk about both sides. I'm not just one-sided. Now, I'll probably put the link to that video in the description box. Um, Good question, particularly to black men. Are you picking? Are you sure? This is mainly to the black men, because the black men are always complaining that there's hardly no good black women out here. We outnumber black men by 2 million, so I don't know why they have such a big problem finding a good black woman. I'm sure that there's plenty of good black women out here. Um, but they say that there's hardly no good black women out here, and so they're prompted to go date other races of women, and some of them are getting their passports and going overseas. And of course, I did already talked about that. That's a whole nother topic. But my question is are you choosing the right women? Are you picking the right types of black women? You know, because um, I know a couple of guys that picked. I know of a couple of guys that they got married and the wives were extremely beautiful, very beautiful, exotic looking, very beautiful, beautiful wives. But then the marriages didn't last. I noticed that their marriages, these two black men, the marriages didn't last. They didn't last. So, in when Kevin Samuels was alive, and he was big on rating women on a scale from 1 to 10, and there he was talking about certain requirements that women need to have. Is he? I guess he was saying if she wants a high value man, but he kept saying high value, um, but I think he was more or less talking in general for the most part, and was saying that women need to have certain measurements, need to be a certain size, they need to meet certain physical requirements in order to pull a high value man. You know, um, but I think in my experience, in my 55 years of living on this planet, I find that it seems to me, it is very frustrating to me as well. Now, let me know, sisters, if you feel this way in the comment section. Black men have extremely high standards when it comes to black women. It just seems like black men have extremely high standards when it comes to black women. It seems like their standards for black women are through the roof. A black woman better look like she just stepped off the cover of Essence magazine or any other magazine for that matter. She has to have not only her natural hair, but she has to have a good grade of natural hair, and it better be long. She has to be a certain shade, because I'm finding that there's a lot of colorism in the black community, and I'm finding that a lot of black men are colorists. You know, that's a major issue. I've heard a lot of black women, a lot of the darker skinned sisters say that there was a lot of black men that would just come out and tell them that they're too dark. So there's a lot of colorism. Colorism is a major issue in the black community anyway, and it shouldn't be, because all of us come in beautiful shades, different beautiful shades. That's a common complaint amongst the darker sisters. They say that A lot of times the black men won't gravitate towards them because they're too dark. They say that they're too dark. I think that dark-skinned black women are absolutely beautiful. Of course, I think all black women of all shades, there's beauty in black women of all shades. You know, I mean, sometimes I look at the darker sisters and be like, "Ooh, maybe I need to hit the tanner. I'll get a little darker." And they age extremely well. The more melanin you have in your skin, the more better you age. They retain their youthful look longer. So I don't understand why black men wouldn't be attracted to darker women, you know? That youth and vitality is one of the things that men are attracted to. Well, the darker sisters, us brown ones too, but really the darker sisters, may, maintain their youthful look longer, you know, because it takes them a long time to age because of the amount of melanin that's in their skin, you know. But I think it's because a lot of men are programmed and conditioned. Um, I don't really want to go into all that because that's a whole nother video topic. You know, I think the media has a lot to do with that and the way that we've been socialized and conditioned as black people to think that white is right. You know, that's been the standard. You know. For so long, and I think that a lot of our men are programmed. But that's like a whole nother video. But I think our they measure our beauty standards. They do measure our beauty standards uh, to white women. Let's be real. Let's be real here. They have the tendency to measure our beauty standards to white women, and that's not fair. That's not fair. I say, and I've said in other videos, there is no beauty standard. There is no standard of beauty. There's beautiful women of all races. I've seen beautiful women of all races. I've seen beautiful white women, black women. I've seen beauty in all races of women. All enough, and that's I can't say that word right now. All ethnic groups. I'll say that. I've seen beauty. There is no standard of beauty. So black men need to get that out of there, and black people need to get that out of our heads. Reprogram your mind that there is no standard of beauty. Okay? There's beautiful women of all shades. Okay? There's beautiful women of all shades, and there's beautiful men of all shades. I know because I be looking at some of them. I ain't gonna lie to you. So there's beautiful people come in all shades, you know. So that let's just throw that out. Let's throw that out the window right there, then and there. But I just like I say, I find that um, a lot of black men they unfairly measure our standard of beauty with white women, and that's not okay. And their standards are extremely high when it comes to us. It's like we gotta almost be perfect, you know, aesthetically. You know what I mean? Now I'm not saying that's the case for all black men, but a lot of black men they're not willing to bend when it comes to black women. But then other races of women, particularly white women, they have the tendency to relax their standards. They lower their standards, and I never understood that because I'm like, if you have a certain standard, I know if I have a standard and I want certain physical characteristics in a man, okay, well that standard's gonna be across the board for I don't care what race he is. You know what I mean? So I mean, if you want a woman, I don't know, let's say you want a woman with nice teeth, you know, for example. Okay, you say you're a black man. You say you want a woman with nice teeth. You see a black woman. You meet a black woman. She's beautiful, but she got a little gap in her teeth, and that turns you off. But then you meet a white woman, and her teeth look worse than that, and you say, "Oh, but she's still beautiful to me." That's the prime example. Or you say you're a black woman, you know, you want her to be fit, you want her to be fit, you want her to have a certain figure, you don't want her to be obese. And then you meet a black woman and you say, oh, she's too heavy for me. But then you meet a white woman and she might be obese and oh, she's absolutely breathtaking. You know what I mean? So that's what I don't understand it. If that's your standard, if you don't want an obese woman and that's your standard, then why isn't it the same standard across the board for everybody? That should be across the board for everybody. Like if I want me a rich man, I'm not gonna say I'm not going to just require, if a black man come around and he ain't rich, and I'm just using that as a parable. I said, oh, I don't want you. But then a white man come along and he rich, I'm going to say, okay, I'll take you. I'm just saying, no, I don't require a rich guy. I'm just joking. I don't require a rich guy. But I'm just saying, my standards are going to be across the board the same. Let's say I want someone financially stable, and I do. Okay, well, I'm not going to relax my standards just because a man is of another race. Mm-mm. I got that same requirement. It don't matter what. I don't care if you're green. I want you to be financially stable. You know what I'm saying? I got that same standard for men across the board. So that's what I'm saying. If that's your standard and that's your requirement, then it needs to be the same standard no matter what race of women. And that is the main a lot of complaint in the black woman sphere, that you guys have extremely high standards for us, but then when it comes to other races of women, you really lower the standards, and boy, do they really lower them standards. You know what I mean. Um, but this is my thought here. Um, I think a lot of men, where they go wrong is that they pay too much attention to how a woman looks aesthetically. They pay too much attention to how the woman looks aesthetically, and they don't focus enough on what's on the inside, because beauty fades. Beauty fades. That woman might be beautiful when you meet her. She may be beautiful when you marry her. But let's say 20 years down the road, she might have done picked up some weight. She gonna get some gray hair. Hair might even fall out. You know what I mean? Or she could get, if she gets an illness, that could change her. You never know. It's not good to fall in love with someone because they're beautiful. That goes for men and women. You got to look at what's on it. Ultimately, you're going to have to look at what's on the inside. Now, I know that men are very visual, and that's what's going to initially attract him to the woman. And women, we're visual to a point too. But ultimately, you need to get to know that woman and vet that woman to find out what kind of characteristics that she has. Find out what you like, as far as personality wise. A lot of black men say they like femininity. Okay, see if that woman has feminine characteristics, or think about some personality traits that you want in your, like, a potential wife. You know, um, and that's what you need to focus on. And I think what the problem is that a lot of men, particularly black men, are picking women based on how she looks aesthetically, and then they get with the woman, and after they've been with the woman, they find out she's not a nice person, and then he gets his heart broke. Let's say he picked one or two women like that, black women like that, and he gets his heart broken. He gets extremely disappointed, and then what do they do? What do they do? What do those same men do? They come on social media and they bash all black women, and they say all black women are like the two extremely beautiful black women that they dated, but they were horrible on the inside. They were ugly on the inside. And that's because you were too busy worried about how they looked. That happens more often than not. A lot of men are like that. They're so, like I said, the two guys that I know of, married extremely beautiful women, but the marriages didn't last. They were black men, but the marriages did not last because they were so busy worried about how that woman looks aesthetically. And then they found out after they married her that she wasn't a very nice woman, that she wasn't wife material. Sometimes they're not wife material. It's very, very rare that a man gets it all. You know, it's very rare that a man will get the whole package. Will get a beautiful. Now, I'm the whole package. I'm beautiful outside and beautiful inside. I'm the whole package. But women like me are rare. It's interesting because this one guy that I was with, he turned out to be a total dog. I've talked about him on here before. He broke my heart big time. He was a player, and he said something that was really interesting to me. And of course, I was a lot younger. You know, my body was tighter and everything. And he said, "You're. I thought you was too good to be true." I'm like, what the heck does that is that supposed to mean? You thought I was too good to be true? So I think what he meant was I was the total package. I was beautiful outside and I was beautiful inside. And he just couldn't believe. He just had a hard time believing that. You know, he had a low self esteem. And he didn't deserve me. If he didn't feel like he deserved me, he was absolutely right because he didn't deserve me. But but it's rare to find a woman that is the total package. That she's beautiful outside and inside. Now they're out there, but it's a rare find. But you know, not you. I'm the total package, but I'm we're like unicorns. but there's some women out here that are what Kevin Samuels would say average at best. Um, Now a lot of those women would make lovely wives. You look at a black woman and you might look at her. First of all, I hate it that women are being put on a scale from 1 to 10. I think that that's just ridiculous. But if you meet a woman as a black man, a black woman, and she's average at best, let's say she's wearing her hair natural, but you may not like the natural style that she's wearing. I wore my hair natural many days, and black men not too many looks the stares, but then as soon as I put on a piece, oh goodness, they quick to turn that head. So they say they don't like weaves, but why is it when and I've heard other black women say the same thing. As soon as they put on their piece or their weave or whatever, uh, they get all kind of attention. Now you guys say you don't like weaves and wigs, but then why? But you say you like us natural, but when we wear our hair natural, you don't like it. Now that's a whole nother video. But what if you meet a woman and she is wearing her hair natural? Let's say she's wearing dreads. You know, she's not ugly. She's not extremely beautiful. Let's say physically, aesthetically, she's average. Are you going to pass her up because she's not she's not what you would look at seem like you in your mind she's not aesthetically what your dream girl is aesthetically? But what if she's your dream girl on the inside of all the qualities? Let's say she's feminine, she's cooperative, she's fit, but but she don't have, like, say her face is average or something like that. You gonna pass her up? Let's say she has a great personality and all that. You're gonna pass her up because she's not meeting all your requirements aesthetically. And I think that's where a lot of black men go wrong. They overlook the black women that are not on the extremely beautiful end of the spectrum. She's not ugly, but she's not extremely beautiful, and she may be average as at best, as Kevin Samuels would say. And you might let's say she's got a great personality. She has wifey qualities and everything. She may not have no kids. Because mind you, there's a lot of black women out here that don't have kids. And they're great catches. But some of you guys are overlooking them because you're thinking that they're average. They don't look like Halle Berry, or they don't look like Beyonce or somebody like that. They're not on that scale. So you overlook them. But you could be overlooking your wife. She could make a beautiful, a wonderful wife. But you're overlooking her because you're looking at, oh, well, she aesthetically, she's not exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. So I do think that that's the case for a lot of black men. They have the tendency to overlook. And sometimes they are looking at the shade. Well, she's a little on the dark side. But that could have been your wife right there. You passed her up because you thought she was too dark. What difference does it make what shade she is? So we gotta get this colorism. We gotta get rid of this colorism in the black community. This is ridiculous. That could have been your wife right there, but you overlooked her because she was too dark. Or maybe she's brown. Maybe you like them lighter complected, but she's brown skinned, and you overlooked her because she wasn't lighter lighter than that. Well, that's just ridiculous. Or maybe what if she doesn't have the hair texture or even the amount of hair that, what if she's wearing her hair natural, but it's in a cute little short hairstyle? I've seen black women with their natural hair and it's in a cute little short hairstyle. You might look at her and say, well, her hair ain't long enough for me. She could make a wonderful one. She could have a great personality and everything. Okay, you just then passed her up because her hair wasn't long enough. So I do think that's the case for a lot of black men. They're passing potential wives up because they're looking at these little petty aesthetics because their standards are extremely high when it comes to black women. She doesn't have a certain aesthetic. She doesn't have a certain hair texture, or she doesn't have a certain length of hair, or she's wearing her hair natural, but she's not wearing the kind of natural hair that you want to see on a black woman. I think sometimes maybe they want that hair to be perm. I mean, it all depends on what a black man defines as natural. Natural, I mean, maybe some black men's mind, natural is just not wearing a weave, but her or a wig, but her natural hair could be shoulder length or shorter, but it might not be long enough for you. Or let's say she has a short afro, or she has dreads, or she has some other natural hairstyle. Because I think a lot of them are beautiful. You'll be looking at her like, well, because she doesn't have the right type of natural hair that you would be attracted. You think in your mind a black woman should have. You overlook her because of that little thing. And I think that's the case with a lot of black men. They're being too picky as far as the aesthetics when it comes to black women, particularly on the color issue. You know? And there's dark skinned women out here, dark complected sisters out here that probably would make lovely wives. But you guys are overlooking them because in your mind, they're too dark. And then you go for the light skinned. Now don't get me. I'm not saying all light skinned women are bad. I'm just saying, as a parable, you get with your preference, as the black woman sphere will say. You will get with your preference, and then your preference treat you like garbage. And then what do? You'll get on social media because you get your little heart broke, And you'll get on social media, and what do? You'll put all black women in the same doggone box. When it all boils down to what you picked and what you chose. You overlooked the average black lady over here that could have made a lovely wife. But then you picked a little pretty little light skinned girl, but then she treated you like dirt. That's your fault. That's your fault. So I'm just saying that you gotta examine yourselves, black men, examine your hearts, and find out the reason why you're really picking these women. Are you picking these women solely based on aesthetics? Find out what kind of personality qualities that you would like to have in a potential wife. If you really desire a black woman, throw color out of the equation. And find out what kind of personality traits you would like to have in a potential wife. That's what I suggest. And stop judging women by the shade of their skin. And even by, because they say there's such thing called texturism. Jeez. Why else black people got to be so complicated? Because she doesn't have the right type of a texture of hair? You know? Why do black people got to be so complicated? We so complicated. Throw all that out, brothers, and find out what types of personalities. Okay, you like femininity. Make a list of what kind of characteristics that you want a potential wife to have on the inside. Throw aesthetics out. You know, you want her to be fit. I mean, no, I said throw aesthetics out. Throw aesthetics out and think about all the personality traits on the inside that you want her to have. You want her to be feminine. You want her to be kind, spiritual. You know, not overly spiritual, but spiritual. I'm just throwing some out there. Okay, submissive, have submissive type qualities. Write all those things down. The personality traits that you would like to have in a potential wife. And then when you meet a woman, when you vetting a woman, look to see if she has those characteristics. Okay, regardless of how she looks. And you may get better results. You know, instead of judging women by, their color or whatever the situation is, because I say a good woman is a good woman. It don't matter what color she is. A bad woman is a bad woman. A good woman is a good woman. So I just think that's a mistake a lot of black men make, is they have the tendency to overlook someone that could have made a wonderful wife because they're so busy worrying about her aesthetics. Okay, hit me in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are, men and women. Men, be nice. I don't want to have to block you. But some of you ladies, do you think that's where a lot of black men are going wrong? That's a lot of men of all races could be going wrong in that area. You got to make sure that you're looking at the whole package, not just what's on the outside. So let me know, and go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. Until the next video, be blessed.